Thank you very much for listening to me today, and for the CEO Forum, and for PLDT for supporting us all. It became self-evident. When I landed in the Philippines, it really did. As Richard said, it was about 2010 or 2011, and I was traveling around Asia, and I was with my son, my brother from Vancouver, and my other brother and his family from England, and we met in Malaysia in a place called Langkawi. It's beautiful if you've ever been there. Got a place on the beach. They stayed on the beach for a month, and I traveled around Asia. And I'd done some traveling through China and a number of places before, but I was intent on bringing our business here into Asia because it was the right place to be. I was leaving after a month and really didn't find a home. We kind of settled on Singapore, and it was interesting because Singapore was expensive. Then a friend of mine, I was talking to him, and he says, "Why don't you try Manila?" And I went, "What's Manila?" He says, "Philippines." I went, okay, so I looked on the map. Flight from KL to Philippines didn't take very long. I hopped on the plane, landed here, met his brother, went around, and it was really quick. I knew nothing about the Philippines, really nothing at all. And so when I landed, came to the airport, we went out, visited a few banks, and I remember it was in Greenbelt. I'm sitting down there and going, what a beautiful place to be. Then I did some research. 100 million plus people in the Philippines. In Metro Manila, or Mega Manila as we call it, what, 35 million people? The same population of Canada. The average age, and I think was mentioned earlier on, the median age and average age is less than 25. Everybody spoke English. You do the research, highly educated workforce. I'm Ukrainian, so I can say it was cheap here. My God, compared to Singapore, I couldn't believe it. And then the topper of all the toppers, the majority of the payment infrastructure in the Philippines was behind times. I'm a banker, 35 years in banks since 1976, and I know quite a bit about payment. So when I went around, it was pretty amazing at the opportunities we had here. So you threw all those things together, and it was a great place to be, so we started business. The world's kind of caught up to us, and whether you believe the survey or not, just recently, and you guys have probably all seen this, and the best countries in the world thing, we went through, and the #1 country in the world to invest in was the Philippines. A whole bunch of things came into play. It was the type of environment, it was economically stable, all the stuff that I thought I saw a number of years ago. On top of that, #11 in the world to start a business. That not only for foreigners, but for people here in the Philippines. It is affordable. It's got a stable bureaucracy. Sometimes confusing bureaucracy, but it's stable. It's, again, it's the access to capital, the inexpensive manufacturing, and in that means inexpensive, relatively slow around the world for developers. And it's the 49th best country overall. So there's a lot of good things happening here. The growth here, you guys see it, all you have to do is look around. There's cranes on every building. When you go to Canada, city of Edmonton I come from, and 1 million people, you're hard pressed to look up into the skyline and see anything going on. Here, the policy of build, build, build will just continue to support all kinds of businesses, because there is a trickle-down event in business where the money that's put in and the new projects that are going on will trickle down. And there's an entrepreneurial atmosphere. I was talking to someone today, and they said, what's the real difference? And I said, it was really simple. Here, when you meet people, it's more like, what can you do to cooperate to get more business? Not so many other places in the world you get to meet someone and already your guard's up. You're thinking about, I don't want to tell this person something because they might steal some of my business, but not here. It's more, let's share as much as we can, and then business will happen. There is for any of the expats in the crowd, you'll know there's a lot of interaction between expats. It's kind of cool. We'll work together just because we bump into each other. But more importantly, there's a significant amount of respect given to the experience people bring. And I don't think it's just expats. There's respect given to the number of years someone has in business. For me, I started when I was 17, and now I'm a little bit older, but I'm almost 40 years in business, and there's value to that here. That's not always the same case in North America. In a lot of places in North America, you're thinking, oh, out to pasture. I go back and I see my friends in the bank. They're sitting there, maybe at a desk, waiting to retire. They're not really thinking about what they're going to be doing exciting in the next day, month, year. Here in the Philippines, it's all about what's going to be happening, what can we do, how can we get some more business going. So it's really cool place to be. Plus, listen, you have great local cigars. I'm a cigar smoker. I see some nods over there. It's a great place. Not only the manufactured cigars. One of my staff brought back a roll of 50 cigars from Ilocos Norte. 100 pesos for 50 little Clint Eastwoods, I call them. If you watch old Clint Eastwood movies, he has a little cigarello. Fantastic. So the coffee comes from my girlfriend's father. He's in Mountain Province, and he grows his own coffee, and he roasts it and brings it down. Listen, just for those things, business is great, but I'll stay here for a long time just because of the cigars and the coffee. That's not to say there's no challenges. Every country you go to, there's challenges. Philippines is a little bit different, where very few conglomerates and families have a significant influence in what's going on in the country. In some ways, that's a good thing. In some ways, it's a challenging thing. But it's there, so you have to realize it. I talked to Rebecca earlier on, and I said, you know, the perception of the Philippines overseas news is really not favorable. Almost all of it is negative. But that means for the people who do want to come here, there's more than enough opportunities, and it's really unfair. My parents, who are now in their late 80s, when I first came here and the news was going on, they were going, what the heck are you doing over here? My children have been over here a number of times, and they see it, that it's a great place to be. So I'm not sure what we can do about that, but there's more opportunities for those of us who do come here and see that the glass is not only half full, but it's full. There are challenges navigating the jurisdictionals and the departments, whether it's the barangays or the cities or the provinces. Listen, those can all be overcome. We have experienced accounting and administrative staff. If you have a good accounting and administrative staff and a good consultant group that helps you along in terms of navigating your way through the endless supply of barangay certificates and mayor's permits, then life becomes fairly easy. People ask me, how does that compare to North America? And I say, listen, don't even compare. Why would you compare Philippines bureaucracy and such to North America when the type of business opportunities that are here in the Philippines don't exist in North America? I just compare them to somewhere else, whether it's Singapore, Hong Kong, Thailand, Malaysia, Indonesia, Myanmar. Really, Philippines and the rest of the countries here in Southeast Asia are very similar. So starting from that even keel, don't worry, it's almost the same. But the great thing about the Philippines is where you're located geographically. I love it. I have some clients in Korea, and I have my friends in Canada, seeing them today. They're flying in tomorrow. From there, we're going to be going to Singapore. I'll be traveling into Bangkok next month. Listen, every one of those flights is 3 hours. And not only are they 3 hours, in North America, you fly 3 hours and you're going to hit 300 million people in a very, very competitive environment. Here you fly 3 hours and you have access to 2 billion people in a sometimes not so competitive market. The opportunities are just significantly more that you don't even compare the two. I thought I'd throw this in. You're right, Richard. Cebu Pacific and Paymaya are two of our larger clients, and I've taken this opportunity to plug them. So if there's anybody in the crowd from Cebu Pacific and Paymaya or PLDT, make sure to tell them I mentioned their name. But it also shows the flights coming in. So how did we build a business? So really, our clients initially that we looked at are the banks, financial institutions, telecommunications companies, and global enterprises. We build payment platforms for banks. Really simple. It's a very highly regulated industry. There's only one global standard. Two, actually, PCI and EMV, but they're all tied together. So whether you build or have your company in Canada, United States, Europe, Philippines, you know, you hear a lot about India and some other places, doesn't matter. Everyone has to build to the same standard. Everybody has to comply to the same standard in payment, and which is really unusual. There's not a lot of things in the world where they all have the same standard. Payment's one of them. So the country that you decide to set up in has a significant impact on your success. At least I think so. So how did we do it? Well, 3 years ago I had an opportunity to go back to Canada, kind of cut ties over here, or start essentially from scratch, because so many things changed. I could have went like my parents. My dad's going, hey, come back to Canada. You know, life's good here, good salary, consistent life. But then you're entering the rat race that I left quite a while ago, and I didn't really care coming back. Plus Canada, listen, it's one of those top 5 countries. Every survey you go to, Canada's great about this, about that. But for me, it was an easy decision. Start absolutely all over again. And the reason we are successful, and thanks to Chris in the room from Primeline Products over there, listen, perseverance trumps all. We chose a very, very specific and narrow target. Maybe in some cases for the Philippines too narrow, but we're a global company. That target is card-present payments, and the infrastructure, the devices, and the certifications and the integrations that come along with it. And we even went further than that. We said, we're only going to focus on mobile. And we're going to compete against the largest companies in the world, because everybody else is tied to a very traditional platform. And we're going to go mobile, and we're going to do it from here, and we're going to take that chance. Now, the easiest way to explain it is, you know those machines you see at every checkout, or not every, there's about 150,000 of them in the whole country, but it's the credit card machine that you swipe through. That's the world we entered. And Chris and Mike have a few examples of the new technology that's coming out. So we were ahead of the world. We went after the smart mobile device, which we don't see any of them here yet, but you soon will. So why did we succeed? Number one, great partner. Thank you, Primeline Products in the Philippines. They have the same philosophy as we do. We own every single aspect of that payment process, from the moment that card touches us to the moment we release it to the bank or company that approves that payment and brings it back. Primeline is SM's largest concessionaire, and they own everything. They own the import, the export, the logistics. They own the salespeople. They own the stock, the inventory, the marketing, the whole bit. So between Steve and Chris and me, we kind of have the same philosophy. So we kind of clicked on together. We hired inexperienced but intelligent and smart staff and aligned them to our strategy. Thinking, well, how can that be? Well, most of them are very young when we hired them. A lot of them have been with us 6 years. It was too difficult to take people who were experienced and bring them into a technology and a and a strategy that no one had done before. So we couldn't have any baggage coming in from experience. So we hired an experience. In fact, our technical architect right now, Kim, is 24 years old. She's from Baguio, and she runs all our integrations for us between our clients, meaning Cebu Pacific and Paymaya. She's usually the youngest technical person in the room, but she knows more about mobile payments and everything surrounding them than I think most people in the country. So you can take the staff that we have here. We took control of our development room. Used to be a chief technical officer, very rigid in North American standards, running everything, gone. I'm not a developer, so I have the development room reporting to me. We turned it into an agile development company. I didn't know what agile meant when we did it, but I do now. Basically, we kind of, I'm not going to say don't have a boss, but we allowed the group to work together to do things. We educated our staff on an entrepreneurial versus order takers, versus the orders that used to always come from North America. So now we do it ourselves. In a highly regulated environment, it's usually the kiss of death. But because we give the people the responsibility, these are young people. I think Mario, who is 20 years old, we just hired him 6 months ago. We put him on the most difficult project you can do in payment. That's a brand new device integration, and you'll see his out there. It's one that Cebu Pacific will soon be using. They went to the factory in China, first time he's ever flown. First time he's left the country, so of course. And in the room of developers, they were all 35 years old. And there's Mario, lost. I took him out for lunch, and he looked at the plate of food, and he didn't want to eat anything. He was dying to find, when we saw a KFC down the road, he went running to it because he was so happy. Because we've given them the tools and the capability, Mario competed and blew everybody in that room away. So what did we do? We changed the logic of our source code too. Everything from the beginning. We entrusted everything to our staff. As I said, Kim manages the development team. We've transitioned to the latest tools. We now have our technical people come with us to all the meetings, because I'll promise just about anything to get a deal, but the technical people confirm that can be done to the client right there, and they give the timeline. We also help out our staff. We've changed our schedules. Chris is in charge of the human resources also. The schedules kind of go through, and most of our staff, I think about 90%, come from the province. We've hired the majority of our staff. As I said, farm boy from the province, likes people from the province. They go home early on Fridays, catch the bus leaving out. They stay home Friday night, Saturday night, Sunday night, come here Monday, have a late start Monday, but work extra hours through the week. We have a staff house right next to our building, and we have fairly flexible salary guidelines. All those amount to almost zero turnover under development staff. Someone asked me today, how do you keep development staff? Pretty straightforward. We challenge them with some of the most stringent requirements in the world. We pay them on average, probably normal. We give them flexibility so they can go home, and give them a safe place to live. Result, we have the foundation of a global payment platform delivered straight out of the Philippines. We're making, did I miss a slide? Oh yeah, there we go. I only got 5 minutes, so I'll hurry up. Really quickly. We developed a mobile platform that's the envy of most large companies in the world. We're going to make it more affordable. We've turned payment into a service. So our model for our banks and such is that they're not going to have to pay a whole bunch of money up front, so that they can take this and make it very affordable for all the SMEs in the country. So now the banks, the telcos, the enterprises can deliver the latest mobile payment technology wherever there's a data or a Wi-Fi signal, and that means for mobile payments, it should help everybody get payment out to the provinces where it's truly, really required. As an added benefit, PayMaya just recently gave us another license. And the license is for us to sign up our own merchants. So what does that mean? Later on in 2018, on one simple device, a number of them are out front there, you can do Visa, MasterCard, JCB, American Express, sorry, forgot that, American Express, Discover, BankNet, Beat, the PayMaya QR code, and for the Globe people in the room, sure, we'll do the Globe QR code too. WeChat Pay, Alipay, QQ Pay, China Union Pay, anything you want, we can put on the terminal. In addition to loyalty platforms, Jim, loyalty platform for you, absolutely in a heartbeat. All of those on a terminal as low as $50. Comparable terminals now are in that $300 to $400 range. So we're trying to make payment affordable for everybody. So I think I have about a 1-minute presentation. So just in recap before the video starts, Philippines has provided us an unfair advantage to all our competitors in the world. We've built a business utilizing the best human resources that the Philippines has to offer. We've pursued a strategy that'll be difficult for people to follow. We partnered with a great local company who has their same philosophy, and they all support. It's a great place for investment and a great place to start a business. And as we all know, it is more fun in the Philippines. So if we can take 1 minute and 22 seconds to run that last video, I'll let everybody see what VeritasPay is.
Keeping up with a mobile-driven world, you'll find VeritasPay at the top of the game. VeritasPay's forte lies with developing mobile payment applications for acquirer and issuer financial institutions. Coming with the highest number of semi-integrated EMV MPOS solutions in the field, with its own user terminal management system, these solutions are flexible in being industry-focused, devising custom payment solutions and services for all industries meeting the highest security protocols. With payments via multiple payment channels and a single device, the solutions enable a clutter-free experience. In addition, Veritas boasts the largest number of pre-certified integrated MPOS manufacturers in the industry, making it the best choice. Working with financial institutions and global enterprise to deliver best-of-breadth technology for the industry. VeritasPay has its own proprietary host payment gateway, local HSM and remote key injection facility for a full end-to-end payment ecosystem, and can even create customized payment applications to smoothen things out. All this with an in-house mobile apps lab for EMV device integrations and card network certifications, all efficient and seamless. VeritasPay, enabling mobile payment globally for banks, telcos, processors, and global enterprises. Visit our website to know more.
Website's just being redone. Chris will have it released within the next few months. But I guess it goes to say, I'm not certain our company could have been built in very many other countries. Everything I talked about today has made it possible, especially here, because of the talent that's here, the infrastructure that's here, and just the location of where we're at fulfills pretty much everything that we need as a company. And as a result, some of the largest payment companies in the world are knocking on our door to license our front end because they're having difficulty building it in other places. Other places may be cheaper and such. I just think the best overall talent, especially in the technical and development world, are right here in the Philippines. So thank you very much for allowing me to speak, and have a great afternoon. Talk to you later.